Hey everyone, a little bit of a different video today. When we launched our Kolovar server, I told our staff that even if our server died in a week, we could still be successful because if we were able to influence the other servers to incorporate some of our ideas, the entire scene would get better. We saw that our server actually didn't die and has continued strong, but the most surprising thing to me was that very few servers launched after we did. With this said, a new server is coming and has caught my eye because they are innovating in a way that should be supported, and I wanted to share it out. If this is your first time here, this channel focuses on multiplayer sim gameplay. If you're into that, please subscribe. Today we're joined by Evil Kipper, who is working on a new server that I thought was really interesting, and I wanted to get the word out because not every day that a new server gets made in DCS. And also, what happens more infrequently is not only does a new server come to DCS, but a new server that actually brings something really new to the scene. And I thought it was something worth highlighting. I think the best way to start this off is Kipper, if you can kind of give a quick intro of who you are and your involvement in the scene, and kind of why are you making a server?
Yeah, sure. So I've been flying on Blue Flag for 10 years ish. And it's just sort of the development stopped quite a long time ago. And I think I just wanted to take it further, a step further. Um, so that's kind of the point of this whole thing. If you don't know what Blue Flag is, it's kind of capture the objective to win the map. So red and blue have objectives that they own, and you can kill the defenses on the objective, drop troops, and capture it. And one side wins when all the objectives of the other side are captured. And this is combined with locked sides and limited lives per time to produce an environment that generates a lot of teamwork and friendships because you're doing something hard together, and that's kind of the basis of friendship, in my opinion. So my entire squadron was founded on Blue Flag, and over 10 years, I've made a lot of friends on that server.
So I'm looking at the map right now, and you said it's going to be like Blue Flag, and the immediate thing is I can see the distribution of different territories, the circles around the map, and you have the fobs. And that's not anything new in DCS. So a lot of servers do that, and the Blue Flag model has been done many times before on different servers. But what is different is you're iterating or innovating, um, and you're using some new things with the scoreboard, or sorry, excuse me, with the draw tool, and you're kind of almost using it as a scoreboard, if you will, to show the health, logistics, supply, and fuel of different areas. And I'm kind of hoping you can kind of pull the veil back a little bit and kind of tell us what's going on here.
Sure. So really what this has been is an exercise in going through all the systems of Blue Flag and saying, how can we make this better than it was? Or how can we use new features in DCS that have come since development stopped and do something even more fun? So on Blue Flag, you have pack info to kind of find out the status of a base, and they use the markup some, but the markup is actually super powerful. You can present a lot of things with it, and I wanted to just present everything that way. So you can see that each base has um, four different bars: health, logistics, supply, and fuel. So health is just pretty straightforward. It's the number of units still on the base. Logistics is the number of logistics units that are on the base. So when the logistics units are all killed, then the base becomes capturable. You don't have to kill every unit, just the logistics units. Supply is a representation of the status of the warehouse, and fuel is just the fuel in the warehouse. So this server uses the warehouse system extensively. Everything in the server is tracked in the warehouses and moved around from logistics hubs where the supplies are delivered to the objectives where they're used. So you can visualize that in more detail by clicking on the warehouse and looking, and you can see how many of each item there is. But the health bar, the logistics bar, and the supply bar and the fuel bar give you an overview of the supplies at a base.
And then how do I access the warehouse?
If it's an airfield, you just click on the airfield and then you click resources from the panel that pops up. And then you'll get, assuming you own that objective, you'll get a full breakdown of every item in the warehouse.
Very cool. So,
And if it's a fob, then you click on the invisible fart pad and click on the little carrot, and you get the same thing.
so basically, if I can put words in your mouth, but basically what you're doing is you kind of looked at how a couple different servers who are using this sort of system in the old school DCS way, and basically streamlined it and tied it more toward the draw tool. And so it should be more immediately more understandable and digestible. And basically, everyone should be on the same page, more or less, right?
Sure. I mean, it's a complicated system when you have the warehouses in play and you're moving supplies around. You need some kind of representation that's easy to look at that says what the status of things are. So the markup was perfect for that.
So how are resources generated?
So it's a simplified system, kind of reflecting reality that wars generally don't happen where things are manufactured, except in really big wars. So in this case, all the things are manufactured somewhere far away and they're delivered to logistics infrastructure. If you notice, the logistics hubs are all near railroads or ports, places where you might build a supply stockpile and deliver things there and then distribute them out to objectives. So it's kind of a two-tiered system. There's logistics hubs where things are delivered, and then every 10 minutes they're pushed out to objectives.
Okay, perfect. So basically, things are made off map. They appear at the hubs, and then every 10 minutes they gets distributed out to the fobs that are associated with that hub, or the other airfields that are associated with that hub. Right.
Right. Every 60 minutes things are delivered to the hubs. Every 10 minutes things are delivered from the hubs to the objectives.
So so already I get an idea of how this is going to flow out. People have a really good understanding of what they hit, what's the impact in the local area. Could you talk a little bit about? So you said you're going to be allowing people to create troops, I believe you said. So how is that going to work? Is that going to be basically helicopter slinging?
It's not sling loading. It's like blue flag CTLD. You pick up crates, drop them. You pick up troops and drop them and build things.
And then will people be allowed to control the units via combined arms?
Absolutely. Yes. One of the goals of this server is to design it in such a way to give the user as much freedom as is possible. So every unit except the logistics units are controllable from CA. That includes base defenses, every unit that CA can control. I mean, obviously you can't control an SA-11 because DCS can't do that. But every unit you deploy, every unit on a base is all controllable. And that's the reason actually why to make a base capturable, you only have to destroy all the logistics. Because if you make it so you have to destroy every unit, then people will go and take like one Stinger troop or something and hide it in a building, and it's really just cancer.
Okay, so how the why the server is coming and is clear. What makes it compelling or new is clear. I'm hoping you could maybe talk about what your ambitions are from like a community perspective, because different servers take on different lives as the community forms up, and there's different vibes. I like to think that for ECW, I like to consider ourselves more of an IL2 server in DCS, and that's always been kind of like our mantra, which was like focusing on the vibe of certain planes and trying to make it more cohesive and streamlining a lot of things and avoiding things that past servers were doing. Um, and your server, it looks like you're going to be, or the vibe is going to be different, which is fine. You know, like there should be a lot of different servers that all have different vibes, and it seems like for this server, it's going to be really focused on more of the air quotes hardcore people in DCS, the people that want limited lives, the people that want more dedicated sides or dedicated teams because you're going to have side locking, and then also a lot of coverage across the entire game. Where instead of just like focusing on a small plane set, you're going to kind of have everything more or less, right?
Yeah. So I think in a nutshell, I would like to build a community of people who want to continuously become better pilots and better fighters while hanging out with their friends and having fun at the same time. So everything that you do is going to have consequences, and you can, you know, if you just go out and get in a plane and do bad things, you can be kicked off the server for 6 hours. And that's fine. That's intended. So you should think carefully about what you do and why you're doing it and whether it's worth the risk, because there is risk. And I think this kind of server is never going to have as big a community as some of the more casual servers, and that's absolutely fine. My goal is not to build a huge community, it's just to build a community of like-minded people who have fun using the server. And the other thing I should note is that this entire engine is completely open source, so anybody can just take this and do whatever they want with it. There are already several other servers being built with this engine.
So let's talk about this actual server. I actually just noticed we didn't even talk about the name. So the server name is called the Coop 80s, right?
Yep, that's correct.
And I'm guessing it's going to be like all the planes and then an 80s missile set. So what are we talking, like AIM-9L versus R-73?
So the warehouse system actually gives us some really innovative options. So if you're aware, the ER and the ET actually did enter service in the 80s, but there were very few of them. And so Red does get a few ERs and ETs, but if they use them extensively, the stock would be gone very quickly. I think they get something like 2 per hour. So they start with a stock. So in the beginning, it's going to be kind of like people are going to throw things at each other, and then supplies are going to bite, and people are going to start using the less capable airframes because that's what they have left. So Blue also does get a few Phoenixes. There weren't that many Phoenix missiles made, but they do get some, and I think they get a few more than Red gets ERs and ETs, because Red also gets the Super 530, which is pretty OP. But again, the Mirage 2000 really for Red is an export fighter that they bought from France. So they don't get as many of them as they get flankers, for example. So in general, I expect to see every once in a while there's going to be a fight with Phoenix versus ER, which is an interesting fight, or Phoenix versus ET. But most of the time it's going to be 73s and 27Rs versus various variants of the Sparrow. And Blue gets, quite a few, like, Sparrow M's, but they also get Sparrow F's and even Sparrow E's. So it might come to pass that they run out of Sparrow M's or MH's, and they end up using Sparrow F's.
Yeah, it's interesting because the warehousing system was broken for a long time in DCS, and now it's not broken. So I think, if I can remember correctly, I think you might be the first one making a new server with the new warehousing system. So,
Gray Flag. No, Gray
Oh.
Flag uses the warehousing system extensively, but it's a PvE server. So this is probably the first PvP server.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, well, I think I understand the vibe, and you know, my whole thought on this is that the scripting. How to say this the right way? My whole vibe on this is that I think that out of all the things in DCS, probably the most compelling thing out of literally everything in the game is the mission editor and the scripting environment, because that's something that all the other current games don't really have, and it gives a lot of flexibility. And there's a lot of servers that get made that are, I don't want to say copycats, but there's just a lot of servers that get made, and they're more or less different variations of the same one. But this stuck out to me because you're really, you're using the draw tool, which is something that a lot of servers still don't use a lot, and if they do, it's in a very limited way. But this is like a core component of it, similar to our server, how we do the front lines. Like it's a core component of it, and you're using the warehousing system, the new one, which is great. So I wanted to give light to this. Are there any features that you want viewers to see while we're still here?
Absolutely. So I think that the combined arms, especially the JTAC, is I've never seen anything like it. Maybe some server has something like it, but I've never seen it. Okay. In a little while, like 10, 20 seconds, you should get a new menu that has a JTAC in it at Sochi. Okay, so if you go in that menu, so first of all, the JTAC understands what it's looking at. Every unit is classified. It has a set of tags. So you can filter units that the JTAC sees by tags. So if you wanted to hit the AAA, then you could go in and set the filter for AAA, and it would only give you AAA units. You can set the laser code from this menu as well. And I think the feature that's most unique is if I deploy, let me just deploy some artillery for you. If I deploy artillery within range of the JTAC target, the JTAC can feed the artillery coordinates and you can order an artillery strike. Okay, I just put some artillery in here, so
I can fire one, fire for effect, show adjustment. So if I fire for effect, can I switch to GM and watch it fire?
Yeah, sure. I mean, okay. If you have game master.
So fire for effect, I'm gonna do 10.
If you put it closer, it will compute the solution faster, but you're obviously you have to move it closer, and you're taking the risk that it gets destroyed. This way you can, hide it in some little hidey hole, and it doesn't need to have line of sight.
Oh shit, it's firing.
There you go. So let's go watch the target. Oh, it's firing at a gap.
It's a Gepard near the airfield, right?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it land yet.
Yeah, it takes a while. It goes up and it goes down. So DCS's artillery solutions are not always correct. So it's best if you have someone like in a helicopter or a CA unit up on a hill. Oh god. Or not. Or it could just be a fucking direct hit almost. Oh, it didn't kill it because Gepards. But yeah, it's pretty zeroed in.
Look at this. This is DCS. Alright, that's neat. So that's cool. So yeah, basically, so now what I'm seeing is you can have people set up artillery overlooking an area and then have someone drop a laser boy and then you can start popping off.
Yeah. And if you have an airframe like the Mirage F1 or the Mirage 2000 that doesn't have a targeting pod, the JTACs they make those airframes useful. You know, previously, like on Blue Flag, the JTAC wasn't that great. It didn't prioritize targets. It would sometimes just laze down pilots, and then it was dead. Obviously, that bug was eventually fixed, but now the JTACs can be like you. It's as if you're working together with actual ground, and you can do combined arms the way it was sort of meant to be done. You know, artillery, like another pet peeve of mine on Blue Flag is, yeah, they had deployable artillery, but the only way to use it was to deploy it and drive it in and use it like a tank. And that wasn't the way it was intended to be used. It was intended to be placed in a safe place far away from the target, and someone would spot for it and give it coordinates and it would fire.
So what's the okay? So this is a neat feature. That's cool because I actually don't think I've seen artillery get used like that. Let me think about it. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that before. So that's neat. I think you said you're going to have a point system too, right?
There is a point system. So all of these things cost points. Like an artillery like the Mista, for example, costs 25 points. And you get points for air kills, ground kills, doing logistics, meaning hauling repair crates to places, hauling supply transfer crates to places, capturing objectives. You get points for all those things. And if you, for example, put down an air defense unit, like a Stinger or an Igla,
Oh, and it kills something. You get a point
and
from
it
it.
kills something, you get points as if that was your air kill. I mean, really, it is your air kill, right? So, yeah. And then in development right now, so that's all implemented. And in development, there will be actions like deploying AWACSs, calling in bomber strikes, um, having the AI do some logistics for you if you're either too lazy or it's really annoying to get in that F-16, kill a whole base and be like, does anybody want to fly a chopper up there? And nobody raises their hand. So if you happen to have however many points it's going to cost, then you can just have the AI do that for you.
That's neat. Yeah, that was actually one thing that annoyed me about past servers, which was like I was in the mood to fly, but I wanted to push objectives.
Right.
That,
So you're going to be able to push objectives without having to have somebody do the helicopter work if there's no one on who wants to do that. Obviously, if there is somebody on who wants to do it, it's very lucrative for them to do it. They get as many points for capturing an objective as you get for an air kill. So it's not like it's going to be, useless to do helicopter work. But if no one wants to do it and people have points, then they can just have the AI do it.
anything else you want potential players to know?
Um, I think, you have to type red or blue when you log in. You can side switch one time. Uh, and that's really about it. Pick a team that you kind of want to live with for the uh, the whole war. Bring some friends. Yeah, get on comms, talk to people, make new friends. That's kind of what this is all about.
How about a launch day?
I mean, it's basically launched. The server's in production. People have been playing on it. As you can see, this is kind of an in progress campaign, and there have actually been people on here that have pushed objectives.
Okay, and then you have a Discord, I believe, a public Discord now, right?
There is a public Discord. The public Discord is both. There's a section for the server, and there's a section for development of the engine. And most of the activity is obviously people who are using the engine for their own like private squad servers or whatever, and they want features or whatever. They want to discuss things or report bugs.
Great. Well, I want to thank you for taking the time, not just for this, but actually taking the time to make something, uh, to build a new community for people to have fun, but also to making it public also so that people can make their own variations. This whole idea. I mean, honestly, if you look at the system and see how it works, it doesn't seem unreasonable that someone could take this and morph it into like a PVE scenario or something, because it's you can grind down bases and have fun with people. So it just seems like it's a good, neat little system for people who want to have more of a hardcore experience
To,
and
to
just
be
play with
clear,
sandbox.
it's very flexible. You can turn lives off. You can turn logistics off. You could make something very, very different with this engine.
There you go.
You can turn locked sides off.
Yeah, no, I get it. It's neat. I mean, it is. How do I say this the right way? It's just it's neat when you give someone something and they use it in a completely different way. So it'll just be neat to see like if this is the new. Uh, I don't want to call it like the. I don't know how to like brand these servers that use slinging and like these campaigns. I'm just gonna. I mean, or I realize you're not using slinging. It's like CTLD, but like these more open-ended servers where they use. I'm going to say all of DCS, like the combined arms thing. So it'll be interesting to see how these types of servers who kind of lean into that, if they use or how they use this system to
Yeah,
kind of make a new take on that sort of vibe. So it'll be neat.
sure. I'll just add that it is not simple to build an engine like this. The DCS API is very powerful, but it's very bare bones. I mean, it does not give you any of this. This is 12,000 lines of code right here. Um, so it makes sense to have a community engine like this that is open source and used by multiple servers. It's just gonna be much better that way. We're gonna be able to all basically make stone soup and throw in all the ingredients we want for lots of different servers and make this very flexible. And I think, hopefully we see at least one other public server that launches with this engine. And maybe it'll be very different from what I'm doing because, I'm already doing that. So why would anybody want to launch another copy of it?
Yeah, it makes sense. I could definitely see like a super modern variation of this. Even actually, what would actually be kind of cool would be like a World War II one, because they have so many assets. And I think they're almost all of them are playable, or a lot of them are playable, so that would be kind of neat.
Yep,
But
I agree. Yeah, World War II would be fun. We have a modern server. It's the Coop Modern. It's currently Syria. It's not as well developed as Caucasus, but it's pretty good.
great. Any last closing thoughts?
Um, yeah, come and give it a try.
All right, great. Well, Kipper, I want to thank you again for your time. Again, not just for making the server, but also making an engine that other people can use. The server is called the Coop. This is Coop 80s, and there's also Coop Modern. COOP is what you can type in on the server browser to find it. And if you want to find more information, there I'll make sure to include the Discord in the comments, in the pinned comment below. And we'll see how this goes. I do like the F10 draw tool. It is neat. Something that can really say a lot with so little. Picture's worth 1,000 words, I guess, is the saying. Just continues to ring true. So we'll see how this plays out. And I wish you guys good luck on your launch.
Thanks.